Well, the impact has been on nearly everything, hasn't it? Tennis tournaments, other major sporting events have been cancelled because of coronavirus. Joining us now is our tennis expert, Jaslyn Hewitt, and Jazzy's here to talk us through the impact of the world of sport. And let's start with tennis, Jazz.
Yeah, so we had a fantastic weekend here a couple of weeks ago with the Davis Cup. I'm currently in Adelaide, and the boys did a fantastic job here, and then they've flown over to Indian Wells, over to the States to compete in the next, almost the fifth major, you could almost call it. And unfortunately, it's the first time ever, I believe it's been cancelled. So all of our Davis Cup boys are now trying to find flights to actually return home, with the concern that possibly our borders may eventually be shut, as you can see what they've done in Spain. We've got a 6-week ban with the ATP and WTA, so that's covering across a lot of the pro tournaments and pro circuit events. And we've just had Tennis Australia and the USTA, so the USA Federation, cancel all of their junior tournaments as well. So this is becoming very widespread across the sporting community.
Absolutely, Jaslyn, and not just tennis, of course. This weekend, the Grand Prix was meant to be on. It was cancelled minutes before the gates were open.
Exactly. You had thousands of people waiting outside, waiting for their just to enter, and I think that's probably where the AFL last night have decided to not shut the gates on the crowds at the last minute and allow the spectators in at the AFL matches last night. You know, the NRL is still going on with crowds this weekend, although they'll be shut out next week. It's also a very interesting time with the NBL finals. So you've got Sydney Kings playing the Perth Wildcats. We had a crowd in Sydney for the first of the best-of-5 series, and it's a phenomenal crowd when you get to the NBL matches and the entertainment level. And then they've played their second match over in Perth, where Perth are usually a very dominant and strong crowd. The players just don't have that support. So it's really taking, you think, a final series where players really rely on the energy and the build-up from the crowds. Perth were probably negatively affected with that one, went down in the second match, and they've all got to back it up again today. So there's a best-of-5 series. Is it worth the players then travelling back to Perth for a fourth game, given that it will still only be 2-1 either way? Risk of flying for the players and the staff, and there's not going to be any spectators, so I'm not really sure what the home ground advantage will be.
Yeah, there's so many unprecedented events, moments, challenges that are happening, and it's very easy to be critical of sporting organisations, or because there was a few people that sort of jumped all over the top of the people in and around the Grand Prix, but they hadn't seen it before. The thing is, with sport, there's people that are stakeholders at every level, from the million and billion dollar stakeholders to those that run the food stands and work part-time jobs. It's a really difficult one. The tennis world, have they given any predictions, Jazzy, on when they may start to think about getting things back together? Because you can't just basically say, well, cancel that, we'll put that back there, because it's so structured, isn't it? You've got the French Open, you've got Wimbledon, you've got US Open. All these things are pretty much set in stone.
Yeah, so April 20 is the date that we've been given from the ATP and WTA. However, given the state of play in the world at the moment, I would suspect that may be pushed back. As you said, there's a lot of key stakeholders involved with sponsors' rights, especially with the Olympics coming up now and players wanting to qualify. So if you look at tennis as a whole, you've got our ranking system that runs annually. So the points that some player earned last year at Indian Wells, they drop off 12 months after. They haven't had that opportunity then to defend those points. So this is where the ranking systems may be a little bit skewed. Players may drop their ranking and then therefore affect their sponsorship deals, and the flow-on effect from that, they then can't get into other tournaments that they typically would have. It's a big issue for the players and their livelihoods, but again, the safety and health of everyone involved is paramount.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as always, we appreciate your expertise here on Weekend Edition, Jaslyn. Certainly very uncertain times, but no doubt we'll talk to you again very soon. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.